On the night of June 1, 2001, the royal family of Nepal gathered inside Narayanhiti Palace for what was meant to be an ordinary dinner. 2 hours later, almost the entire royal family of Nepal lay dead from gunshot wounds. And the shooter was the Crown Prince himself. But this tragedy may not have begun that night. It may have begun long before, with the rivalry of two powerful families that shaped the history of Nepal for more than a century. September 14th, 1846, Kathmandu. A tense emergency meeting was called inside the royal palace. The court had gathered to investigate the assassination of a powerful royal official. But within moments, the meeting descended into chaos. Weapons were drawn, shots were fired, and the palace courtyard turned into a battlefield. Dozens of nobles, generals, and high-ranking officials were slaughtered that night. The massacre was led by one man, Jung Bahadur Rana. With the support of loyal soldiers, Jung Bahadur eliminated many of the most powerful figures in the kingdom. The event would later be known as the Kot Massacre. When the killing stopped, between 30 and 40 members of Nepal's ruling elite were dead. In the aftermath, Jung Bahadur Rana forced the king to appoint him as Prime Minister of Nepal. But the bloodshed was not over. In 1847, another purge followed. An event remembered as the Pandarkal Massacre. King Rajendra Shah and his queen, Rajya Lakshmi Devi, were removed from power and exiled. From that moment on, real power in Nepal no longer belonged to the king. For the next 104 years, the Rana family would control the office of Prime Minister, passing it from father to son. Meanwhile, the Shah kings remained on the throne, but only in name. They were monarchs without power, rulers without authority, prisoners inside their own palace. November 7th, 1950. Nepal was a kingdom in the shadow of another power. For more than a century, the Rana regime had ruled the country with absolute authority. The kings of Nepal remained on the throne, but only as figureheads. Then, something extraordinary happened. King Tribhuvan, the monarch of Nepal, escaped from the heavily guarded royal palace. He fled to the Indian embassy in Kathmandu seeking political asylum. 3 days later, the king was flown to New Delhi, India. From there, Tribhuvan made a declaration that would shake the foundations of power in Nepal. He announced that the Rana regime was an illegitimate government. The declaration ignited rebellion. Across Nepal, resistance against the Rana rulers began to grow. Finally, on February 8, 1951, leaders from Nepal, the Rana regime, and the exiled king met in New Delhi. The agreement they reached would become known as the Delhi Agreement. It ended the absolute rule of the Rana dynasty, and once again, King Tribhuvan was recognized as the legitimate ruler of Nepal. 10 days later, on February 18, 1951, the king returned to Kathmandu. The Rana regime had fallen, and Nepal entered a new era, the beginning of democracy. For more than a century, Nepal's royal palace stood at the center of power, a place of kings, dynasties, and political intrigue. Behind its ancient walls, secrets were buried, conflicts were hidden, and the ghosts of the past never truly disappeared. For generations, the palace endured, through coups, revolutions, and fragile peace, until one night, in 2001. June 1st, 2001. Inside Narayanhiti Palace, the royal family of Nepal gathered for their traditional Friday dinner. Nearly every senior member of the Shah dynasty was there that night. King Birendra, Queen Aishwarya, Crown Prince Dipendra. Princes, princesses, brothers, sisters, cousins, the heart of Nepal's monarchy all under one roof. Only one royal was absent. Prince Gyanendra, the king's younger brother, was away in another city. At around 8 p.m., the family gathered in the palace billiard room. The atmosphere was relaxed. They talked, they laughed, they drank. But something was not right. Witnesses later said Crown Prince Dipendra had been drinking heavily: whiskey, wine. Some believed he had taken other substances as well. By 9 p.m., he was visibly intoxicated. Then his phone rang. The call was believed to be from his girlfriend, Devyani Rana. Witnesses said the conversation left him deeply emotional. 10 minutes later, Dipendra returned to the billiard room. He could barely keep his balance. Concerned relatives helped him back to his room. They believed he had fallen asleep. But 30 minutes later, he returned. This time, wearing a military uniform and carrying weapons: a shotgun, an automatic rifle, a pistol. At first, no one panicked. Members of the royal family were accustomed to seeing weapons, but within moments, everything changed. Dipendra raised his gun. His first target was his father. King Birendra collapsed to the floor. Panic swept across the room. Family members screamed and tried to hide. Prince Dhirendra and Kumar Khadka attempted to calm him. They were shot. Princess Sharada became the next victim. Then his own sister, Princess Shruti, and her husband. One by one, members of the royal family fell. After the massacre inside the billiard room, Dipendra walked into the palace garden. Following him were Queen Aishwarya and Prince Neerajan. They tried to stop him. Instead, he turned his gun on them. By the time palace security arrived, the garden of Narayan Hiti Palace had become a scene of tragedy. Moments later, Dipendra raised the gun to his own head and pulled the trigger. For centuries, the kings of Nepal were regarded as living gods. But on that night, inside Narayan Hiti Palace, the gods bled. In total, 13 members of the royal family lost their lives that night. Some died instantly, others succumbed to their wounds later in the hospital. King Birendra of Nepal was pronounced dead in the early hours of June 2nd at the Kathmandu Military Hospital. His death created an extraordinary situation. The Crown Prince, Dipendra, the man believed to be responsible for the massacre, became King of Nepal. But there was one problem. Dipendra was unconscious. While the new king lay in a coma, his uncle, Prince Gyanendra, assumed power as regent. Later that same day, the Nepalese government released its official statement. According to the report, Crown Prince Dipendra had shot his own family while intoxicated. But many in Nepal refused to believe it. The royal family had long been seen as sacred, almost divine. For many citizens, the idea that a prince would slaughter his own family was simply unimaginable. Rumors spread quickly. Some believed this was not a tragedy, but a palace coup, and suspicion soon turned toward the acting regent, Prince Gyanendra. Neither he nor his son, Prince Paras, had been present at the royal dinner that night. To many, it felt like a coincidence too convenient to ignore. On the same day as the royal cremation, anger exploded in the streets. Riots broke out in Kathmandu and several other cities. Thousands of citizens gathered in protest. They demanded answers. The people of Nepal were grieving. A beloved king had died violently, and the official explanation felt too fast, too simple, and far too convenient. 3 days later, on June 4th, King Dipendra died without ever regaining consciousness. His reign had lasted only 72 hours, one of the shortest and strangest reigns in the history of any monarchy. With Dipendra gone, the regent, Prince Gyanendra, ascended the throne as the new king of Nepal. In the days that followed, many theories began to emerge. Why would Crown Prince Dipendra commit such a brutal act? The official explanation pointed to a forbidden relationship. Dipendra was deeply in love with a woman named Devyani Rana. But members of the royal family, especially Queen Aishwarya, strongly opposed the relationship. The reasons were complicated, partly about caste, partly about family background. Ironically, marriages between the Shah and Rana families had happened many times before. Even the queen herself had Rana blood in her lineage. But Devyani Rana came from one of the most powerful Rana dynasties. She was a direct descendant of Pashupati Shumser Jang Bahadur Rana. Her mother, Usha Raje Scindia, was also a princess from an Indian royal family. Some feared this marriage could pull Nepal's monarchy into the orbit of powerful political interests. But the truth may have been far more complicated. Political pressure, personal struggles, internal conflicts within the royal household, and perhaps something else entirely. The official investigation lasted only a few days. Too short, many believed, to uncover the full truth, leaving behind a nation filled with grief and unanswered questions. After the death of the beloved King Birendra and a deeply disappointing investigation into the tragedy, public trust in the monarchy began to collapse. For generations, the king had been seen as a symbol of national unity, but now that belief was fading. King Gyanendra, already unpopular among many Nepalese, struggled to bring the country together. Instead, his decisions would push Nepal even deeper into crisis. In 2005, claiming the need to defeat the Maoist insurgency, Gyanendra dissolved the government, suspended democracy, and seized absolute power as king. The move sparked outrage across the country. In 2006, hundreds of thousands of Nepalese citizens took to the streets. They demanded the return of democracy, and eventually parliament was restored. But the monarchy had already been weakened. Year by year, its authority continued to fade. Then, on May 28, 2008, Nepal made a historic decision. The parliament and the Constituent Assembly voted to abolish the monarchy. Nepal officially became a republic. King Gyanendra was forced to leave Narayanhiti Palace. The last king of Nepal became an ordinary citizen. Today, Narayanhiti Palace stands as a museum, a place where the memories of Nepal's royal past still linger. But on the night of June 1, 2001, the bullets fired inside those palace walls did not only destroy a royal family. Slowly, almost inevitably, those bullets also brought an end to the Nepali monarchy that had stood for more than 240 years.